Thank you for joining us today. This is Paint2Inspire, Women Making Their Mark, and this is episode 7. I am very excited about this live series because I get to highlight women that are making an impact in our community. I get to educate other small business owners about opportunities, and we get to inspire them by sharing them these wonderful stories. I am Laura Hoyos, founder of Paint to Smile. We're a team of talented artists, and we do face painting, live airbrushing, and all the things and entertainment events. Um, it is an honor for me to have Anna here tonight. I admire her. I've been following her for a few years now. We met at a radio and TV class. I
Yes,
want to say like 5, 6 years ago. Um,
yes.
I'm
It
like
was a 7 year, I think 2018. So
2018.
yeah, 7 years ago.
7. Time flies. I'm a lot more comfortable now with the camera, but back then I was not. I would freeze. It was just not my thing. So I'm glad I did the class, and I am very blessed that I got to meet amazing people like Anna. And I've been following her career and all the things that she's been doing ever since. So I just want to let everybody know a little bit about you, Anna. Um, so Ana Milena Rincón, Director of Media Partnerships at the United States Soccer Federation. Ana's story is one of courage, determination, and breaking barriers. 13 years ago, she left everything familiar behind in Colombia to chase her professional dreams in the United States. Today, she's not just succeeding, she's thriving at the highest levels of sports media, managing partnerships with major networks like Warner Brothers, Discovery, Telemundo, and Fox Sports. Hello, boss babe. As a
Yes,
proud
I
Latina,
am.
right? As a proud Latina woman in a male dominated industry, Ana has carved out her own path while staying true to her roots. She's proof that with passion, perseverance, and authenticity, you can make your mark anywhere.
Yes.
Anna, welcome to Paint2Inspire. I am so glad you're here tonight.
Thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate not only the invite, but also the beautiful introduction and your flexibility. I know we have been trying to do this for a while, and you have been very patient with my schedule and all the changes that I have upcoming. So I'm happy. I'm happy of being here. I'm happy of sharing my story and maybe inspire a few Latinas and Latinos out there that want to make changes and they just need the little inspiration and push to go
Right?
and
That little
pursue
push.
those. Yes.
Yeah. I am happy to have you too, and I understand you do a lot of things, and I really wanted to have you on here because you have an amazing story, and you know, you inspire me. Like from when you first with your curls and you let them grow, when seeing you graduate like NYU, and then you started all these different career paths, and now you're with the U.S. Soccer Federation. So it's I get inspired by watching you grow too. So for me, it's also a blessing and an honor to have you here. But so we're gonna get started, and I want to start in the beginning. Tell us about your childhood and upbringing in Colombia. I know you came here 13 years ago. Um, what was it about sports and specifically soccer that captured your heart?
Well, I wish I could say I was a player and I was an amazing player, but I was not, and I'm not. Um, So I grew up in a female-dominated household, grandma, auntie, mom, and my cousin. So, my mom, my auntie, they were like busy working or taking care of the house. And my cousin, he was just like, he was 10 years older than me. He used to watch TV. And the first vivid memory that I have is the USA Men's World Cup in 1994. And I
Okay.
remember it was only one TV in the house. So it's either you watch that or you don't watch TV. And I was like literally like peeking. And then he told me like, you're not doing your homework and you're like half watching the game. So come and watch the game. And I think since then, I been like following the World Cups, then France 98, then 16 years when we didn't have Colombia in the World Cup, but I was following the tournament and I understood the rules, I understand the game. I remember when I was little, I tried to play with my classmates, but you know this, like 20, 30 years ago, like soccer or football among girls,
Mm-mm.
my mom, she was like, esto no es para las niñas. So,
No.
my mom and my auntie, they persuade me to try something else. So I was more like a cheerleading. I tried basketball, fail, like absolutely failure in basketball. I believe they only, you know, sent me to the team because I was tall. And then I
Mhm.
tried volleyball, not good. And then when I moved from, I'm from very small town, Restrepo. Then when I moved to Cali for work and university, you kind of forget about sports because you just need to survive. So
Mhm.
like, you don't have time for that. So I wasn't sporty girl, but I always have that deep love and connection for football and for America de Cali and for the Colombian national team. So the passion was there.
Yes, I can see it. And as a Colombian, soccer is like a religion. Like it's just everybody follows it, and it's like you're so proud of your selección. And I can relate. I tried to play. I played indoor. In high school, we didn't have a girls soccer team, so we got a whole girls, and we went to the athletic director, and we were like, "You need a soccer team." We were not great. We were really bad, well, we got a soccer team going, so
You see, that's an accomplishment that I mean we
right?
didn't have at that time, I'm gonna say that maybe we didn't have that support, but I'm not gonna blame my family or our professors. It was just how the system were at the time, so it was just like as a
Yeah,
consequence of that.
it was, and a lot of even today, women in sports, a lot of like the Women World Cup doesn't get as much views, not and it's to the point where the players don't get paid as
Yeah.
much as the male.
But
Do.
it's changing and it's
It
changing
is.
and I think that's one of the reasons that I really love what I do and that's one of the reasons that I love working in sports and specifically in football soccer because it is a space that has helped us to kind of like bridge that gap and I mean, like you have seen Colombia women's national team, how they did in New Zealand. So like the viewerships they get, uh,
But they're a
and
great
also
team, and they're young.
yes, the U.S. women's national team, that I have the pleasure to say I work with the world champions. So for me, soccer, if you see it this way, it gives so many equal opportunity to everyone. Like to play soccer, you are either a girl or a boy. It doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter your nationality, your background, or the resources that you have. Because you can be playing in the street, as it happens in Colombia, or you can be playing in the upscale facility. As long as you develop the skills, you can do it. So I think like what sports has been doing for society is helping us to bridge that gap. Like just to understand that a lot of national teams now they receive equal prizes than the male counterparts. I think it's
Mhm.
evolution. Of course, there is a lot to work on this, and there is
Yes,
more
it
to
is.
come. But it's like it's hope, and I think like women's sports and women in sports is giving society the hope that we need to keep
Very
like improving.
yes, and having you opening doors for a lot
Thank
of that
you.
talent, I'm sure we're going to continue to grow and make changes. Um, now, take us back. You said you moved to the U.S. 13 years ago, right? And what was that moment? What was it that what made you decide to leave Colombia and pursue your dreams here in the U.S.?
Well, immediately when I graduated from my bachelor's degree, I went to Universidad de San Buenaventura. I finished business administration. So once I graduated, I knew that I need to learn a second language if I really wanted to move forward. Like I always see myself like going going global, but I didn't have the full vision at that point. And as of, the story of millions of immigrants, I wasn't having a good personal and financial moment at the time. So I saw the opportunity to come to the US, like to take a break from my situation, to take a moment to change the environment. But I told myself, even if I'm going only 1 year to the US, I'm going to make the most of this. And it's been 13 years. And I
Yeah,
learned English.
and good. And it's you speak.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
When
great.
I came to the US, I believe I only knew how to say like, "Hi, my name is Anna. May I use the bathroom?" That was
But
the
that's
only two.
better than a lot that don't even know
And
how to
then
say.
yes, and then it's been a process. So I always tell my friends and my colleagues and now my students that I know we're going to talk about this later. Yes, I came to learn the language. I came with the student visa. I work as a bartender to pay for my student visa. Um, I did what was required to maintain not only like my status, but also to pursue my goal, but also to learn and
Mhm.
like take advantage of the opportunities that I have here. And I relate, with the story of many immigrants that they came pursuing the American dream.
Yes, and it's an American dream that a lot of us, when we come to this country, I came here when I was 9, so I've been here for about 30 years. But same thing, my mom had a dream. I came with a suitcase full of dreams, and we have a different perspective over there coming here. But here, as two immigrants, right? And you being able to be vulnerable and share your story, like, hey, I had different jobs. I had to make ends meet. I was focused, right? You had a goal and you had an intention, but they weren't the greatest jobs.
That's true.
That you had to pay your dues to get to where you're at. And something that came to me as you said it, a lot of people use the word luck. Oh, she got lucky, or oh, she's pretty and she's young and that's why she's gotten so far. And that's not true. Your talent, your perseverance, your focus, that's what got you this far, and you paid your dues, right?
Yes,
So
I did pay those. I'm,
so
I'm
I
still paying.
So the fact that you're able to be vulnerable and share your story with your students, and especially at an age, because when we're students, a lot of students, we're trying to make it, and a lot of us, as a student, we're broke, and we're just trying to figure it out. So you being that role model for them, they're going to be able to see like, hey, you know what? I can do that. I can be like Anna because I see myself in her. And we need a lot more Latinas and women that are stepping up and being role models. i
Yes.
i want to
But
touch that.
Laura, and to complement on this one, is for many years, I didn't want to share my story because I was like, oh, I don't want people to look at me like, she's like bragging about it, or like, ¿qué se cree? But then now
No,
that I have my students, for me, it's like my students, they ask me questions about how do you got the student visa, how you were able to make it to the US, what other the other programs. And of course they look at me like, oh, la profesora, she's in the United States and she went to NYU. They look at me like, oh, she's in heaven. But then when I come to them and I tell them, listen, I didn't come from a rich family. I come from a very small town. I moved to Cali and I was working during the day, going to college at nighttime. Uh, yes, I went to NYU. I haven't paid my master's degree yet. But that was like, I made it. So as you say, if I did it, with the barriers that I have and the issues that I have, there is no reason that other people or the student they're going to tell me like, oh, can I do it? No, I just now I understood that sharing my story is inspiration, and that's what I want to do. I mean, sometimes we don't have the opportunity to open doors, but we have the responsibility to show where the doors are, and then it's on you if you want to go and knock the door.
I
So
love that. I love that. I really do. We cannot open doors, but we're going to show you where those doors are. I love that. Now, touching into the Universidad, you currently teach at Universidad de San Buenaventura in Cali, right? Which is where you went.
Yes.
Um, why there and not other universities here in the US? You know, why?
Well, here in the US, and that's one of the reasons I decided to go to grad school here for sports management. I didn't know about this career. I didn't know that I could work on this when I came 13 years ago. But here in the US, the sports industry, the sports business is, it has an incredible structure. It's a business, right?
It is.
However, in soccer, football specifically, there is still like a talent development process, and it's going through a transformational period. It's like uh, people used to compare MLS with NBA, and then I'm like, will you compare a 30 years old person with an 80 years old person? You wouldn't, right?
Mm-mm.
So I think like soccer is going through a transformational period. We have more talent, we have more international players, we have a better system. In Colombia, we have incredible talent, kids that they play in the
Yes,
streets.
yes, they're amazing.
But the system first is broken. We don't have
Hmm.
the structure. But then when you think about this, there are agents that they go to towns and they give the family, I don't know, $500 or $1,000, and they take the kid and they sell it for millions and thousands of dollars to international teams. Where are those agents come from? They come from the scarcity, they come from the necessity, they come from the poverty. They don't know how to do this. So I feel like for me, being here in the US and learning and the opportunity and the privilege that I have worked for to be sitting at tables when we make decisions, when I'm part of incredible projects, and for me being able to say, you know what, I'm going to teach this to the new generation of sports professionals in Colombia. And Universidad de San Buenaventura, when they create this program, I believe it was like 3, 4 years ago. I've been having conversations with them for like 6 years before they build the
Wow.
program. And and now I tell my students, you are the new agents. You want to work with ethic. There's a student one day that told me, I don't like numbers. And I was like, well, you told me that you want to be a good agent. How are you going to fight for your players when you don't know how to look up statements and budgets? And he looked at me like, oh, profe, you're right. So there is a new generation of sports professionals in Colombia, and I'm
Hmm.
proud to say I'm leading that change. So in 10
I
years,
know.
when you look at partnerships, when you look at our Colombian athletes, not only in soccer, football, but in different disciplines, you're gonna see that difference, and it's because we are assessing the problem from the root. It's from. I mean, I'm a believer that education and sports are the only thing that are going to save the corruption and the violence in our country. So I'm a believer that if from here I can do that, like I was like, yes, I'm in. Not because there are no, I mean, of course, there are students here that they could find value on my knowledge, but if I can do this for my community in Colombia, for my community in Cali and Restrepo,
Hmm.
I think I will do that because we have another professionals here that can do it in America.
Yeah, for the players here, and that those agents that you're building, that you're creating back in Colombia, they're going to be able to connect one on one with that talent, and not just from Colombia, but from other countries, right? But because they have that same origin story, right? That maybe they have the same origin, maybe they come from the same things, and they're going to be able to understand. And talking about ethics, maybe they're not going to give their families $100, right, or $1,000, and then they get all these rewards, but they're going to work with the player and the families, and also you're teaching them about budgets and looking out and statements and looking out for them because a lot of players Because I follow some of it, like basketball and football. I've learned that a lot of players, they come into so much money when they get signed and they lose it. Like it's like because they've never had so much money. Um, so the fact that they have you there, teaching them, it's a beautiful thing. And you're going back to your roots, right? You're doing it in your home country. And I think that's when I say, was like, I've made it. If I'm going back to my community, to my homeland, and teaching them like, hey, this is how I got here. We need more of these kind of people because there's enough in the world, right?
Yeah. But you know what's funny? At the beginning, when I was making the decision to go to grad school for sports management, I was like, first, I was like, what I'm gonna do with this career in Colombia? Because my plan was to finish grad school
You
and
go
going back to
back.
Colombia. Now, like, what I'm gonna do with this? There was only one university in Bogota, I believe, Sergio Arboleda. It's a private school. I mean, the access is like it's different. And I was like, what I'm gonna do with this? And for now, it's like fast forward. I graduated in 2018, and now like if that's the reason I remember when we did the class, um,
Agreed.
because that was right after graduation. And now for me, it's like looking back 7 years that I was so worried what I was going to do with this title and this experience. And now for me, it's like being able to share this title and this experience with 20-year-old students, 25 years old students. For me, it's like this is goal. It's like when you're trying to find that purpose in life. For me, when I teach, is is amazing. It's like, sometimes my colleagues they ask me like, how you do it? Like you're working full time, then the classes, and I'm like, it's so fulfilling that I find the
Mhm.
time to do it.
Yeah, because it's rewarding. That yeah, when you're a teacher and you can teach them what you know, and then you can see them off. And once they graduate and you see them take off, you're gonna feel like a mom. Like I have, you're gonna have a lot of kids.
Yes, that's how I feel they are, my kiddos.
And
And
you're gonna
also
be so proud of them.
because I don't teach, and this is something that I told the directors and I told the, vice rector, the university, ¿cómo se dice vice rector? I don't know, the dean of the university.
The Dean, yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to teach with books. Like my classes are with case studies. I have case studies from the New York Liberty, the New York Red Bulls, the F1. I recently, in February, did an integration with Telemundo, the Super Bowl, and a former U.S. national team player like Josie Altidore. We did an incredible integration that set a new standard for content collaboration. And I showed the results to my students. Like, this is the amount of impressions, this is what we did, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, yes, amazing. And I was like, now I'm going to tell you the challenges that I have to get this done. I'm going to tell you how difficult was to sell this idea internally. Or I'm going to tell you how difficult or how easy or what were the talking points to get this done. Because you cannot find that in a book. And that's one of my goals with the classes is, like sharing real experiences. I bring guest speakers, presidents from soccer clubs. I have brought like directors from MLS, from US Soccer, former Brazilian players. So my students, they can ask questions to real professionals from the global
Mhm.
landscape. And I think that's the biggest value that I bring to the class.
Yes, you're teaching them real world experience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we learn theory, right? But it's very different when you learn it in a book than when you actually have to apply it
Yeah,
in
you
a
need the
real world.
basics. Yes, you
Yeah,
need the
you need
basics, but it's the real experience, the one that is going
that
to
is that are gonna
mold
make you,
you. Yeah.
yeah, into a great agent. We touched upon, you've worked with incredible organizations like Major League Soccer, Fox Sports, Univision. Now you're working with Telemundo. Um, and how how has it been for you as a Latina, um, in a very male dominated field? Because sports is one of these things where you don't see, now you're starting to see more women, but I want you. Share with us a little bit of your experience.
Yes. So, well, just to clarify for the followers. So right now, I work with Telemundo because it's one of our partners for the U.S. soccer, and I also work with TNT Sports and different partners, but Telemundo is one of them. So, I mean, for me, having the opportunity to work with these amazing companies, it's been like now that I look back, the other day, I believe I had to update my resume for something at the university, and I was like, dang, I did this. And I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, how old I am right now. But I
You're,
believe at the
you're young.
beginning, thank you so much. At the beginning, I think it was more difficult to overcome my own limiting beliefs that we have engraved as Latinos and Latinas, right?
Yes.
Eso no es para mujeres. You know, same thing that happened when I was little and I couldn't play
No es
soccer.
para mí, eso es
Eso
para,
no es,
eso es para,
that's not for girls. That's not for
sí,
women.
eso es para
Uh,
peladitos. Yes, I've
yes.
heard that one.
Uh, oh, you're Latina? They're not gonna hire you. They don't hire Latinos. And Latinas? No, not even better.
They said
Oh,
that to you, or that was a
yeah.
limiting
No,
belief?
yeah, no. I mean, it's because you hear, you
Okay.
know, from other systems, and then they start engraving that in you. A grad school, like maestría, that's for
Hmm.
rich people. NYU, you know how you're gonna pay? Oh, student loans? Oh my God, you're gonna spend your whole life paying. And guess what? They hired the Latina with an accent, and she went to NYU.
Yes, you did it. You
And,
showed
and,
them, like, I
and
got
here I
this.
am. So I think like it was more difficult at the beginning to overcome this self-limiting beliefs than the actual barriers that I found. And I know every person's story is different. So at the beginning, I remember this. I was like, I'm not gonna wear dresses or tight pants because I don't want them to look at my body. I just want to be recognized for my for my knowledge and
Your work ethic.
my vision and my work. And then once I start working in the business, I understood that I can wear whatever I want, but I'm recognized. And even if they're looking at me or not, I don't care because I'm recognized for my work, for the value that I bring for my ideas, and also because I make myself like I have made a name, and they respect me for my results. I still have a professor from NYU that he calls me every semester to either participate in a class or support the students for capstones because he told me in 2018 where no one at classes was talking about soccer, you say this, like you have the vision, like seven
And you
years
got
ago.
it. And you're
Yeah,
here.
and he didn't say, but you were a woman or you were Latina. No, he just say, I remember because you say this. So I think like that speaks for how the system is changing. However, and I need to give credit to the woman that came before. I've been lucky enough to work in industries and companies where successful and powerful women have opened the space. And I believe that's the reason now we have more resources. We have more male allies. We still need to get more
Mhm.
because
Yes.
I just want, male to see that we are teammates. We are not the enemy. I mean,
No, we're
like
not.
we're not. And I think like we're making progress. There's still a lot of work to do, but I want to be for the future generation. I want to be that woman that came before me. I have amazing like amazing and caps and bold mentors and like bosses that have conversations with me that they have pushing me to do it, like female bosses. But I also remember male bosses when during a meeting when I was a junior. and I have an idea. I raise my hand. I have an idea. Yes, Anna, go for it. And then when the meeting ended up, Anna, you know what? That was a great vision from you, and I think you should talk to this person to make it happen. And I was like, oh my God, they are listening to the Latina, even if I had this accent. That was the other barrier that I saw that was going to be it was going to limit my progress, the communication struggle. So 7 years ago, I thought that, oh, they're not going to understand. My accent is too thick. They're not going to hire me because of this. They're going to say, oh, no, the Latina. And when I was at Fox Sports doing my internship, a very high up executive, female, we were talking about this, and I say I want to improve my English, and then I want to learn another language. And she told me like, why? Your power is in your Spanish. And Laura, from that day, my life, my mindset, and my career changed. And if you can see, the greatest projects that I have worked on have been because of my Spanish.
Yes.
So
They,
yes, and now I
so
speak
that's your
English, and
superpower.
that's my superpower. So I think like fighting those beliefs, it was the most difficult part. And that's the reason right now, when I ran the New York City Marathon last year, I was like, I hope every parent can encourage their kids, girls and boys from little age. Yes, you can run. You want to dance? You can dance. You want to play? Let's go play, even you are not the best player. But just like, do not tell they cannot do it, because sometimes those messages stay here in
Here.
the back of
Yes.
your mind or your brain, and then those are the ones limiting you later in life.
Yeah, and they're not some, and a lot of times they're not true. Yeah, they're not true. You're
They're
limiting,
not true.
they're yours, and you're limiting yourself by believing them. And I always say, I'll tell people, your accent is your best asset because it makes you unique. It makes you who you are. It sets you apart, right? It also, I always tell people like, listen, I think in two languages. So I think
You're
English
smart.
and Spanish. So
You're so smart.
I'm twice, yeah, I'm twice as smart. And
I'm gonna take
sometimes
that one.
my brain wakes up in English, sometimes in Spanish. And then we have this beautiful other language, we're trilingual. We have Spanglish because it's a
Imagínate.
beautiful symphony of the two. And so it's an asset that you have, and it's your superpower. And it's
Yeah,
also,
but it took me years, and it took me time to kind of understand and give, not my Spanish, but give my accent the value. I mean, I always joke and say like, oh, if Sofia Vergara can make money with the accent, why couldn't do the same? But I used to say that, but only until I truly believe that, I think everything like changed for me.
and I followed Sophia for a long time because I followed her, and desde que ella estaba en, I think, what was it called, con Fernando Fiore, eh, you know and when she did her crossover, she hired a coach to neutralize her accent. And her if you hear her first interviews in like the Tonight Show, or um these big televisions, when she was doing the first crossover, she her accent was very neutral. And then came Modern Family, and she monetized the hell out of her accent. And so you got it. It makes you who you are. It makes you unique. And
I'm
and I
here.
wish I could keep talking to you, but we have to, we're coming to a close.
Yeah.
Um, and I just want to ask you two more things. We talked about your students, and obviously you work a lot with Latinas and young people, and I love this because uh, they're going to be the face in a few years. Um, I want to tell you these. You are going to be that mentor that you have now, that professor that calls you and reminds you. You're going to be that for your students.
Yes.
So proud of you for that. What advice would you give young Latina women or just Latinos who are looking to break into sports, media, or start their own ventures in sports, what would you tell them?
Well, my invitation will be sit or I don't know, lay down, whatever. Have an honest conversation with yourself. If you had to write whatever it works for you, but ask yourself what I want. And then once you know what I want, try to vision where you're going. Where do you see yourself going? What do you see yourself doing? And it could be the craziest thing, but once you start like understanding why you want, then you can, draw the map. In Colombia, we say something like, cuando no sabes para dónde vas, cualquier bus te sirve. When you don't know where you're going, whatever bus
That's
or train it helps
gonna
you.
work.
Yeah, but when you know what you want, and like, for me, when I came here and I say yes, sports, and at the beginning I say sports sponsorships and sales, and I try and didn't like it. Okay, I always say no to media until I try media, and look what I'm doing now. I remember I always say, I know it was a joke, but it's a reality now. I always say, I used to work in a bank in Colombia, so I was working in heels all the time, and I always say, oh my God, I want a job that I can work in sneakers all the
And
time.
you got it.
And here I am, I I have long dresses, suits, blazers, and I'm always on sneakers. So it's just have that honest conversation with yourself. And sometimes that honest conversation is gonna picture like, you know what? I'm really good at marketing, but I'm working in this company and I'm not happy. And when you see a game or when you see, I don't know, creators, and you think like, oh, maybe if I work with creators, and then when you understand that you can make money with something that you're passionate about, that also is set clear expectations with yourself. Like uh, a lot of positions in sports don't pay like, don't think like I'm gonna make myself a millionaire working in sports, right? But I enjoy it so much. So right now, yes, the money that I get is enough for the life that I want right now. Maybe if I want to make more money later, I might need to switch to another industry or whatever. But it's also understanding what you want. And what I want right now is enjoy the work that I'm doing. So money is not my priority right now. So once you know, oh, I want more time to be with my family. Oh, so maybe working and the World Cup right now is not the opportunity for you. So once you have that honest conversation with yourself and you understand why you want, it's easier to draw the map to go to the next step.
To go to the next
In
step. Yes.
sports, in media, and whatever industry you want to step
Yeah,
in.
because you're gonna have a clear and you need clarity. And it's and very and honesty, right? Because not everything is for you, right? Because other things are gonna come into play
I know,
with
and I've
your
been telling
career.
this to my students when we set goals, and I say like we need to be realistic. I don't
Yeah.
want, I don't want to shut down your goals. Like, I say I won, and I'm going to be the president of the Federación Colombiana de Fútbol. Not tomorrow, no in 2 years. Give me 10 years. Give me 15 years. Why? Because right now I'm working with the United States Soccer Federation and I'm learning and I'm working with the world champions and I'm gonna work with the World Cup. So could you imagine that all this experience and knowledge is gonna make me a better professional to compete for that position maybe in 10 years, maybe in 15 years. But if I say in 2 years, that's not realistic. So it's also like, I'm not
Yes.
gonna say set expectations because I'm a believer that expectations are limits, but it's just like be realistic with your goals and the timeline of your goals.
Yes. That's important because a lot of us are high achievers, and also when you're a high achiever, you tend to want things fast because you're working for them so fast, and things take work. And I heard this, I don't remember from where, but it's like um, dream your dreams, and if they don't scare you enough, They're not big enough.
They're not big
So
enough.
until you're very scared, don't start dreaming. And it was a beautiful conversation with you, Anna. I wish we could continue, but we are coming to an end. So thank you again for joining me tonight. It's an honor. I've always said it's a blessing to have met you and to have you as an amiga and as another fellow Colombiana and immigrante. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
made it. Well, girl, and you're still gonna keep making it. You just started. I'm telling you, you're going next level,
Thank you.
and it's
And
gonna
you
be
too. I
very
mean,
high next
I'm
level.
so glad to see how well you're doing on camera right now because I remember how you the struggle you have like 7 years ago when we were taking that class. But I'm so glad that we are at this point right now and that you are showing more Latinas and Latinos where the doors are. And that's great.
Yes, just
And I love that.
we
Thank
both
you.
are.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Laura, for having me and let's keep changing the game.
yes,
That's the goal.
right. Let's keep inspiring others to do the
Let's keep
same and
inspiring others.
to keep opening doors and showing where the doors are. So thank you again,
Yes,
Anna,
that's the
and
commitment.
thank you to all of you that joined us. We're very glad that you're here with us. I will see you again in 2 weeks at 7 p.m. So los dejo. Adios.
Bye. Gracias.